One thing I pride myself of on this channel is original content. I am not the trend follower, I am the trend setter. And I thought to myself, you know what would be a great video? Talking about 10 Nintendo Switch games that I just can't live without. Maybe not necessarily the best games, but my favorite games on the system. And more importantly, no one has ever done a video like this before.
I already did that?
No, come on, man. You totally didn't make a video on this. I didn't see it.
No, seriously, I did. Go look at it on my channel. I know you never watch my videos, but at least take a look at that video.
I mean, that's kind of true, but come on, man. I really don't think you made this video, and even if you did, I mean, I'll have different games to talk about than you, right? I mean, come on.
Ugh, fine, whatever. It's not like you don't steal my video ideas all the time anyway. It's okay, I steal yours too. Love you, buddy.
Well, thank you for your blessings, sir, but I have something to offer my viewers in this video that you probably did not have to offer your viewers in your video. A way to save on video games through GameFly, who happened to sponsor this video. What is GameFly? I'm glad you asked. GameFly is a monthly subscription service that gives you access to over 8,000 titles from various PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo systems. Whether you want to rent a PS2 game or check out the latest Nintendo Switch game, GameFly offers you the ability to do that. GameFly also offers movies if you're a movie buff, so if you want to check out various DVDs, Blu-rays, or 4K movies as well, you could do that through GameFly's service. GameFly is also going to be having the next generation of consoles with the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, and you can get these games delivered to your home without ever having to leave your home. And right now, GameFly is doing a special subscription offer that's only available on this channel. You can't even get this on their website. You can sign up right now and get 3 months of 2-disc GameFly for just $9.95 a month by using the link in the description box down below. That means you can get either a game and a movie or 2 games out at once, and you'll always have new content coming into play for your various video game systems. I've used GameFly in the past and I've been very impressed with this service. So if you want to check out any of the games we talk about in this video, make sure you sign up for GameFly and check them out first. And if you really like the games, they'll even let you buy the games at a discounted price.
The first game I want to talk about is a multi-platform game that honestly isn't all that enticing on the PS4 or the Xbox One, but the Nintendo Switch version definitely stands out from the crowd, and that is Starlink Battle for Atlas. Now, at its core, Starlink Battle for Atlas was essentially Ubisoft's way to sort of bring toys to life back into a genre, and it really didn't work out well. But as far as the actual game is concerned, Starlink Battle for Atlas is spectacular on the Nintendo Switch, only for one major reason: the Star Fox inclusion. You see, without Star Fox, I feel like the game is just a bit boring, it's a bit drab. I never really cared about any of the other characters in the game, but all the Star Fox stuff in the game really makes the Nintendo Switch version of the game stand out, and it's really fun to play. It honestly feels like what a modern Star Fox game would feel like if a third-party company took on the role of producing it. There's tons of voice acting, there's story elements for Star Fox that are included in this game, and I think it's just spectacular. You can play the entire game as Star Fox, and that was the way I played the game, and that was the way I really enjoyed this game. There's also some additional DLC for this game as well, and while the Toys to Life stuff definitely just fell flat on its face, I think Starlink Battle for Atlas is a spectacular Nintendo Switch game, and it's definitely a Nintendo Switch game that I can't live without just because of that Star Fox stuff that makes the game so attractive to me. Next up, I want to talk about Luigi's Mansion 3 for the Nintendo Switch, and honestly, it's a shame because I feel like people have already forgotten about Luigi's Mansion 3, which of course came out on the Nintendo Switch in 2019, but really, this is one of the best games on the platform. In terms of visual style, I think this game is head and shoulders above a lot of other Nintendo Switch games with interesting lighting effects, tons of destruction elements, and just well-animated characters and ghosts. The game itself isn't the longest adventure in the world. You could get through the single player in about 10 to 11 hours, but it's a very enjoyable experience, except for one boss battle. There was one boss battle in the game that really made me angry, but everything else in the game is just superb and really oozes that Nintendo charm that you get from the first-party titles. The writing is very well done, there's secrets to uncover in the game as well if you want to replay through it, and there's online multiplayer with the Scare Scraper mode that really adds to the longevity of the game. It's a game that you can pop into your Nintendo Switch and just play for a few hours, but feel very satisfied with the production values of it and just the overall quality of this game. This is definitely one of my favorite games on the Nintendo Switch, and a game that I just couldn't imagine living without. The next game on my list is by far the most controversial game on this list. I don't think anyone would include it in their list, but this is my list of Nintendo Switch games that I can't live without, and Friday the 13th is definitely getting a spot on my list. Now, yes, it's not the best looking game in the world, it's not the best performing game in the world, but you know what? This might be one of the most fun games, especially to me. It's honestly one of my most played Nintendo Switch games. Only Breath of the Wild has more hours logged into it than Friday the 13th does. It's an online asymmetrical game where 7 camp counselors are trying to escape from Jason Voorhees, and I feel like the online stuff is really well done. There's a bunch of different ways to escape from Jason Voorhees, either by fixing up a boat or a vehicle, calling in the cops, or if you're really ballsy, you could try and kill him. I think this game just has infinite replay value because every match feels and plays differently than the previous match before it, depending on the level of skill of the players involved, and I've just had so much fun playing this game, and it's really one of my favorite games on the Nintendo Switch, and probably one of my favorite games of all time. I definitely couldn't live without this game. I even enjoyed the single player stuff, which was just sort of tacked on after the fact, but it's definitely a game that you should at least try, and if you enjoy it, you'll probably have a lot of fun with it. The Nintendo Switch is full of retro game compilations, and as someone who, well, played these games when they were new, I definitely have to include 2 retro game compilations in my list. The first one is the Sega Genesis Classics Collection. Now, I grew up with the Sega Genesis, and I love the Sega Genesis, so having 50 Sega Genesis classic games in one nice little tidy package is definitely a must-have for the Nintendo Switch, and a game that I couldn't live without. You get a great variety from platformer games, to strategy RPGs, to traditional RPGs. Just a great variety of Sega Genesis fun is on this cartridge, and really it's one of my favorite games for the system because, well, I love the Sega Genesis. The next one is the Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection. Once again, the Street Fighter franchise is another franchise that I am very fond of, and I think the Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection is a fantastic compilation of some of the best Street Fighter games. Whether you're talking about the various versions of Street Fighter 2 or Street Fighter 3 or the Street Fighter Alpha series, everything is well represented in this, and I feel like it's just an absolutely fantastic value if you are a fan of fighting games, because these are some of the best fighting games of all time. These 2 compilations are definitely 2 games that I could not live without on my Nintendo Switch, and some of my favorite games on the console. Mario Kart 8 gave me hundreds of hours of gameplay time on the Wii U, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe did pretty much the same thing with the Nintendo Switch version of the game. I think Mario Kart 8 Deluxe might be the best looking Nintendo Switch game to date in terms of a first party game when you're factoring in things like frames per second and resolution, as this game just looks absolutely gorgeous whether you're playing it in handheld mode or in docked mode. And even if you played Mario Kart 8 to death like I did on the Wii U, the new features of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe definitely make this one of the best games on the Nintendo Switch, and a game that I couldn't live without. Things like the battle mode, being able to play with local friends or in online mode, really adds to the value of this version of the game, and considering you get all of the previous DLC from Mario Kart 8, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is just an absolutely fantastic and complete package for the Nintendo Switch. It's the highest selling Nintendo Switch game to date, and I really don't see another game superseding this anytime soon, just because of the great value you get with it. It's very pick up and play, anyone can play it, anyone can enjoy it, but to master the game is where the fun really begins. Another multi-platform game that I played a lot on the PlayStation 4 and the Nintendo Switch is Doom, and Doom is definitely a Nintendo Switch game that I couldn't live without. I am a big fan of first-person shooters, and I think Doom is one of the best first-person shooters in recent memory. The story isn't very deep, but it doesn't really need to be, because the action is always what made first-person shooters fun to me, and Doom does not skimp on the action. There's tons of different demons to blast through, tons of different weapons to acquire, and tons of different upgrades and secrets to find within these levels. I think the online multiplayer component of Doom is very well done as well, with a bunch of features and game modes that are very fun to jump into and still a lot of fun to play today. Doom still has a pretty active online multiplayer base, and this is definitely a game that I couldn't live without on my Nintendo Switch, because if I just want to blow up some demons, Doom is always there for me. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate for the Nintendo Switch is definitely the ultimate version of Super Smash Bros. And really, I'm not the biggest Smash Bros. Fan in the universe, but this is definitely a game that I couldn't live without on my Nintendo Switch. And you might be saying to yourself, well, why is that the case if you don't really like the game itself and you're not a huge Smash Bros. Fan? I think it really boils down to the fact that this is a celebration of video games. I love all of the different characters from all of the different franchises that are represented in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Whether you're talking about Pac-Man, Metal Gear Solid, Sonic the Hedgehog, or Mario, there's representation for all major franchises that I grew up playing within this game. Of course, the addition of the Belmonts with Richter and Simon was a huge deal for me, and this game is just very fun. I am not good at Smash Brothers. I never will be good at Smash Brothers, and I am definitely not a competitive player, but I enjoy playing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate just because of the history of all of these characters, and pitting some of your favorites from your childhood up against each other in a fight never really gets old to me. I think they did great fan service with all of the characters, with the backgrounds and the music as well, so this is something that almost supersedes video games. It's almost like a museum of video game lineage that you actually get to experience and play. So Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is definitely a game I couldn't live without. Of course, no list of Nintendo Switch games when talking about games you can't live without or the best Nintendo Switch games would be complete without The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Now, I remember when this game came out, this was the game I purchased with my Nintendo Switch on day one, and I pretty much just sat in my house and played this game. I remember it took me about 70 or so hours to complete the game, and it was just an absolutely breathtaking experience. Obviously, very different from the other Legend of Zelda games, even though it was sort of an open world style game like Ocarina of Time. They really took it to a whole nother level with this version of the game. And I think Breath of the Wild is so incredible to me just because of the fact that people are still finding secrets within the physics engine of this game that are just absolutely staggering to see. Like, you could do so many interesting things with the physics engine in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and it's just almost beyond what we're seeing with in-game physics engines from next generation games that are coming out. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild might have sort of deviated from that traditional Zelda path, but I think that's sort of a good thing in this situation. I think this game had a lot of great features in it. I didn't mind the weapon breaking system. I thought it sort of added to the realism aspect of the game. The cooking stuff was fun, and it's just an absolutely brilliant game. Beautiful art style, beautiful music in the game as well. Just a really complete package and something that you could pick up and play, and every time you play this game, you'll probably find something new within it. And the final game on my list of games that I could not live without for my Nintendo Switch happens to be my favorite game for the Nintendo Switch, and that is Super Mario Odyssey. Now, I was a huge fan of Super Mario 64. I enjoyed the other 3D Mario games like Galaxy. Sunshine was kind of okay, but Super Mario Odyssey really felt like an expansion on Super Mario 64 to me, and that's what made this game so special to me. It has my favorite level in a Mario game ever with New Donk City, which I just love exploring. There's so many hidden things to find within this game. I love all of the different costumes. The platforming is rock solid in this game. The graphics look great. There's tons of details in the environment. It just feels like a living, breathing game with Super Mario Odyssey. It didn't really feel like a traditional 3D Mario game. Super Mario Odyssey really gave me a fuzzy feeling in my stomach, and every time I play this game, I still find tons of enjoyment from it. I've currently beat the game, of course. I'm just going through and finding some of the rest of the moons in the game, and I love doing that. They're almost like little mini puzzles that you need to solve. With all the content in this game, it is just absolutely brilliant, and I think this game will stand the test of time as being one of the best 3D platformers of all time, and arguably one of the best Super Mario games of all time as well. I think retrospectively, people are really going to fall in love with this game if they haven't already, and Super Mario Odyssey is definitely a game that I could just play over and over again and never really get bored with it.
Alright, so those are the 10 games for the Nintendo Switch that I cannot live without. Obviously, a very original idea. I want to give a big thank you to Wood for making a cameo in this video. I thought it would be kind of a funny joke because I kind of wanted to steal the idea because, I mean, it's an interesting idea. It gives you the ability to talk about games that maybe aren't necessarily the best on the system, but they're games that I just can't live without. They're something that I go to when I'm bored and I want to play a game. I also want to thank Gamefly for sponsoring this video once again. If you want to check out any of these games, but you don't want to go out and buy them. GameFly is definitely a great way to do that. Like I said, you get 3 months for just $9.99 a month, and you get 2 games out at a time. So make sure you guys check out that link in the description box down below. And as always, thank you guys for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Be sure to check out other videos on this channel as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.